This is Top Shop Podcast.
Shop Podcast.
Top Shop Podcast.
Podcast for automotive service business owners by Paul Donahue.
Hey, auto repair shop owners. Welcome to another Top Shop Podcast. Once again, got a great guest, Patrick Egan. So he's been in the industry for 15 plus years. Is that correct?
Yeah, about that. Yeah.
Okay, 15 years. He was with Kukui, vice president of marketing for 5 years. And then he went over to Auto Vitals and pretty much wore a lot of hats in the beginning, but basically marketing. But you did SEO, did kind of everything in the beginning, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and actually was at Auto Vitals prior to Kukui. So,
okay.
Yeah.
So I met Patrick at the Tools event in Lancaster, sat next to him at lunch. So you never know who you meet at these events. So highly suggest you go to these different events. So if you're anywhere in that Northeast area, look up the Midwest Auto Care Alliance. Mid-Atlantic Auto Care Alliance, and look up the Tools Conference and take you and your team there, because you just never know who you meet. So when I met with Patrick just real briefly at lunch, I was just finished up. He was just leaving. I was very intrigued with Spark Interactive. He's the CEO at Spark Interactive. And Spark Interactive is mailers on steroids, if I can just summarize it real quick, because mailers are still working. Mailers work really, really well. And as a digital marketing agency, I still advocate traditional marketing methods, boots on the ground, community involvement, getting that logo up at the high school football stadium. It's not just digital. It's marketing is marketing. It's everything. So, and mailers still work, especially in retirement areas and especially with older clientele. So it doesn't matter what area that you're in, you always have a lot of older people that live in those areas. But mailers work across all ages, but they still work really well in other ways. And then Patrick has a way of I'll let him explain it, but to be able to send somebody a mailer, you're an auto repair shop, and you send somebody a mailer in your 3-mile radius around your shop, 5-mile radius around your shop, has their name, the brand of cars that they drive, it's a different kind of mailer. That's more, that's going to get noticed a lot more. So, I'm not going to let Patrick explain it. I'll let Patrick explain it. So start from the beginning. Where were you born? No, just kidding. So tell us how you got involved in the automotive industry, Kukui, obviously, and Auto Vitals, and then how you ended up starting Spark Interactive.
Yeah, sure. So, I've been in marketing for a long time, and teamed up with Auto Vitals back in the day after I had spun off another business I was running back in the time, and worked at Auto Vitals to help them launch some new marketing initiatives. In fact, one of them was to produce a series of service videos, which I know you're familiar with.
Yep.
And worked at Auto Vitals for some time. We launched the DVI back in 2011. So that was the first time you ever heard the word DVI. Before that, people called it electronic inspection sheets, or they called it a lot of things. But when we launched the Auto Vitals DVI, that was the first time that term was used. And so we can probably title that with an Auto Vitals discovery. So, we're in marketing with Auto Vitals for a while. Did marketing for Auto Serve One for a little while as well too, and ended up at Kukui, where we took things kind of to another level, and worked there for a time before starting Spark. But the real thing is that running around in shops, I've been into thousands of auto shops all across North America, and seeing the differences between a really great shop and some that aren't. And so it came to me that the shops that are really doing things differently, the ones that really focus on their team and focus on their customers, they should be telling that story to their prospective audience and to their prospective new hires as well too, because unless someone walks in the door and meets that shop owner and understands his origin story and his customer ethos and its core values and really the company culture, they don't understand it until they see it in person. And these days, as you know, digital marketing is at the click of a button. You see a message and you're forced to do something about it right away. So until you walk in the door, you don't really understand those things. So it occurred to me that there's a real need to go out there and help shop owners really tell their story. And that's what it's all about. When it comes right down to it, storytelling is marketing. And especially in a business where your name is typically on the door, your story, your name is your brand. And so, showcasing what makes your brand different through storytelling is something that's really unique that I've been doing for about 5 years now with Spark Interactive. And it's something that really helps those shop owners really get out there, and showcase, why I treat my customers the way I do, why I treat the team the way I do. And that's what really creates a long-term customer base. It creates a real satisfaction with customers and with the team as well. And then recently, we've started also extending that out through our direct mail business, where there's a lot of direct mail companies out there and produce postcards, and postcards are great. And the method works, but we do, again, things a little bit differently. We like to personalize it. And I think a lot of brand marketing and brand storytelling is about personalization. So that's why we do what we do. With our direct mail process, instead of sending out a mass mail piece that goes to everybody in the box, that's called saturation mail or EDDM, where your postcard goes out to every single mailbox, and it works. I won't say that it's a failed process, but it certainly works. But it's a wide net. If you're putting a postcard in every mailbox around town, sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But what we found, we worked with the American Marketing Association on a survey last year, and they went out to about 3,000 consumers and found that people really prefer customization or personalization. And a lot of people, like you mentioned, really do like direct mail. I mean, people have thought that direct mail is dead, and it's not. I mean, it's back and with a vengeance, because so few pieces of mail actually come to your mailbox anymore. There are things that are interesting to you. So if I get a postcard that says, "Hey, Patrick, need some service for your, Audi?" Well, why, yes, I do. I do need some service for my Audi. It's strange that you know that I have an Audi. That's kind of nice. And it's what stops you for a second before you throw in the garbage can. But then there's a message there for me, and it makes me again realize that this company that sent me this piece of direct mail, they care a little bit about me. They took the time to actually understand who I am and understand my needs. And then taking that even a step further, personalizing it with even handwriting or a message directed at them particularly. If you've got a current customer base, let's not forget, it's easier to sell to your current customers than it is to new customers, right? So, being able to go out to your current customer base with a message that says, thanks for being a great customer over the last year. You brought your Volvo into us, and we're so happy you've been a great customer. We're going to give you this reward. And whether it's handwritten, we can create direct mail that's handwritten or simulated handwritten through a robot, or it's printed to look like it's handwritten. But again, those are the types of things that people really prefer. And really statistics show that people do prefer personalization. They do respond better. People respond something like 4 times better to a personalized piece of direct mail than anything else. If you get a piece of mail that has your name handwritten on the front of it with a real stamp, people are something like 90% of the people that receive those things are likely to open them. Mm-hmm. Up to you what's inside, of course. But, it's like getting your phone to ring. When that phone rings, if you don't say yes, you're turning a customer away. So what that message is inside is also important too. So it's personalized to that customer, taking another step to really appreciate their business. So, those kind of things that we do that really kind of go to the next level.
Yep. So you tap into databases and online you know where to go to get the information, to get these cards personalized to the name of the person, the type of vehicle that they own. So I don't know how you do that. DMV doesn't give away their info, right?
Well, that's not true. So yeah, we use a number of list brokers and combine data from a really vast range of sources. So we pull information from DMV records, from
so DMV, you can get records from DMV.
Sure.
That's amazing.
It's compiled from a wide variety of sources. So it's not just things like post office data.
Right.
Typically when you go to the post office, you get when you send out a saturation postcard, you don't even get a name. You just get resident. So an address.
Resident. Right. Yeah. And those are as generic as you get. Now, personalization, I can verify works. I want to start a cold email marketing campaign again, which I don't like. I don't like cold emailing people because I don't like it myself. As soon as I get those, I mark them as spam. But I did it before and it did work because you would get an email. Hey, Patrick, would you like to know why Joe's Auto Repair and Bob's Auto Repair are ranked number 1 and 2 on Google? When I type in auto repair in your city, if you would, please respond back and we can schedule a call. So, and you knew that was a canned email, but you also knew that I did a little bit of research. And you know what? Those emails did work well. So now we do database marketing with our clients. So we want to make sure that every single month, if the shop owner wants to, we would send out some sort of an offer. Hey, it's June, August is coming up. Come on in, get your AC checked. Here's your offer. So we, and those go out through either text or through email. So what you're talking about is enhanced database marketing, because now we're contacting them through postcard, through tangible mail, and through email or text. Most auto repair shops do not get email addresses. Some do, some don't. So you can't. So the only way you can send them a monthly offer is through a text. So for them to actually get something tangible in the mail, that would be great. So what motivated you to start Spark Interactive? Was it because you saw these holes in the traditional?
Oh yeah. I mean, in the 30 years I've been doing marketing, the one thing that I saw that performs the best is personalization and video. And I've been working in different aspects of video production for the entire time that I've been doing marketing, and it really does perform best. I mean, what's a better way to tell an authentic story than by hearing a real customer talking about why they love coming to your shop, or why your team members love working there, and hearing from the shop owner personally about his origin story, how he got into the business in the first place, and why he does what he does. And so we did that really based on the activities of just walking in shops. Like I mentioned, I walked in 1,000 shops, close to 5,000 shops. Just, they weren't all sales gigs. I'll tell you that. I mean, a lot of them were just walking like, hi, how's it going? I've been thrown out of a lot of shops too. So it's just, you get out of here. We don't want you in here. But yeah, seeing shop after shop after shop, and the ones that have a great story need to tell that story. And so there was just a vacuum there. There wasn't anybody doing that. And so that's what we focus primarily on. And then again, the direct mail part of it, because there's also a vacuum there. Like I said, there's plenty of people that are out there can do postcards.
Right.
But using that personalization, being able to say, let's send, instead of sending a postcard to everyone in your neighborhood, why don't you send the ones, if you focus on Asian vehicles, let's send postcards just to people who drive Asian vehicles. And maybe you want to do a special for families with kids. Let's send a postcard to people who own their home. They drive an Asian vehicle. Maybe they drive an Odyssey. Maybe they're minivan drivers, and they've got 2 or more kids. Maybe they have 2 or more cars. So you can really get very specific about the delivery of the mail. Do you want to send it to homeowners? Do you want to send it to people who live in homes instead of apartment buildings? Maybe you want to do a new mover campaign. Let's hit all the people who have moved into your area in the last month and send that out every month. Welcome to the neighborhood. Joe.
Right. Yep. Right. Yep.
you're new to the neighborhood. We want to give you this $30 to use any way you can. Come on down, try us out. We want to be your next best friend. We want to work, we want to earn your trust and be just like that last shop you went to in the other town you were at. So those things I think are really important to people. And I think that's what's missing. I mean, let's face it, as a consumer, people really feel like a number these days, right? And,
Yeah, we all do. Yeah.
yeah. So, I appreciate it when I get something in the mail that calls me out. Even and being a marketing guy, I know it's marketing, and I know it's they're trying to attract me, but I still like it.
Just like my emails. People know it's marketing. People know that I'm sending these out, but they know that I did some research first before I sent them this email. And it worked. And it works. It works really well. So let's talk about video, because you're preaching to the choir here. When my wife and I decided to get into to pick automotive as our niche, it was because we saw that the six biggest the companies were still putting their clients' websites in a template that they created about 10, 15 years ago. And I'm like, wow, that was like landing a spaceship in the Jurassic period. I'm like, okay, yeah, I think we should get involved in this. Now, one of the differentiators we wanted to do with our company was focus on video. YouTube is the second most searched for platform. So when we launch our clients' websites, and this is hard for a lot of shop owners to believe, we create 150 branded videos specifically to them that give automobile owners in their market tips on their car. That's it.
Yep. Not
sell my stuff media, social media. So, and then the service videos, 50 service videos. So we launch websites with 200 videos on YouTube. So now you've got this great presence. So talk to me about video, because this is a really important part of Spark Interactive.
Yeah.
So what is it about video that makes it better to deliver the client's message?
Sure. And there's, you mentioned YouTube. So yeah, definitely you should be putting all your video in YouTube. But when you're talking about your website, when people hit your website, I mean, everybody can have a pretty website today. And even if they are those templated websites that a lot of the other marketing companies build, they still look great. I mean,
right.
That guy with the blue jumpsuit and the wrench, man, he looks great on everybody's website. And he gets around a lot. But as you know, the algorithm that Google comes up with, I had the opportunity to tool around with two product managers from Google, and they would tell us things, but they wouldn't tell us the story, right?
Right.
They even said, nobody knows no one person probably at Google knows the whole story of the algorithm, and if they did, they're not going to tell you. But they did share, and the one thing that Google shares publicly is that the algorithm is designed to feature websites that have interesting and educational information for your target audience that's authentic. And so what's more interesting and what's more authentic than a story in a video told by actual people? So, everyone loves reviews, right? Nobody buys anything on Amazon anymore without reading a review. And I think the number is like 80% of people look at a brand's video in their reviews before buying a product. So that's what we do. So we'll go out and we'll interview the shop owner and their team and as many customers as they can get in the shop that day, and create a really compelling story that showcases what they're about. Stories from the customers talking about, I've been coming here for 25 years, and my kids used to be in the car seats in the back. Now they're bringing their own cars in here, and I wouldn't go anywhere else. Look at this beautiful waiting room. When I drop my car off, they give me a ride home in a shuttle, or put me in an Uber, or they give me a loaner car. I mean, who does that these days?
Right.
And you hear stories from the shop owner talking about why they did it. Why they got into the industry in the first place. Maybe they're a third generation shop owner, and so that's the stories, and they're long form. But then the placement is also important, because again, Google favors websites that have content that's interesting. They favor websites that have video on them. So we place these videos very prominently above the fold, where when you hit the website, rather than, as you know, being a web guy, the bounce rate is sub-second on most websites. Maybe you get 1 second. Nobody scrolls anymore. But if they stop and there's a video there, even if they only listen to 30 seconds of that video, that's already 30 times more than your average website. Typically, we'll create a long format video that's 3 or 4 minutes. And that's because a lot of people do stick around for all of it. Some people actually do. But there's content in there. And the content that's in that video is also searchable by Google. So they can see that entire transcript because of the way it's embedded on your website. All that spoken word content is great. And so like you mentioned a little while ago, things like their service videos. So if I'm a Euro shop or if I'm an Asian shop, and you bet I've got a page on there that says, A+ Japanese works on Japanese vehicles, right? Mm-hmm. So on my Honda page, I'm pretty likely to have a video that says, "Hi, I'm the owner of A+ Japanese. We work on Hondas. And the reason we work on Hondas is because of this." And they go into that whole thing. Mm-hmm. And a 60-second video of that it performs better than any type of SEO content you can put on it. So we recommend to clients when we do these long form videos that we also take those smaller ones and put them onto your website on those different pages. So your makes and your services. If you got a brakes page, you should have a video in there that talks about servicing your brakes. Why Joe's Auto recommends that you service brakes. Here's 4 things that might indicate you need new brakes. Maybe you've got a BG services page. You should have a video on your BG services page that talks about like why it's important that you have your fluids completely flushed every, 2 years or something like that, and go into the process. So that whole video content, I mean, it's the new wave, right? There was not too many years ago where people were saying, I don't need a website. I've got a Google listing. I've got a Facebook page. Everybody's got beautiful, great websites now. What sets you a little bit higher on the ladder now is that you've got video content that focuses directly on your target client's needs. And I don't know if you know the definition, I've heard this one of marketing that talks about marketing attracts your best customers, but it also repels the not best customers. Mm-hmm. So if someone sits there and they watch this video and they listen to you talking about who you target, if you're not a target client, you're probably going to be repelled by that as well too. So it does help you really focus and funnel those best customers to make an appointment. And then, they always drive people to make an appointment.
Right. Yeah. And I want to be sure that people, the listeners really understand the difference, the type of videos that we're creating and the type of videos that you create are totally, completely different. And the most valuable ones are the ones that you create because they're hyper localized. It's just the actual, right. Now, it's really good to have 150 tips for automobile owners. We could put one of those on their social media channels every single week.
Absolutely.
3-year period. And they get liked, followed. Hey, another quick tip by Spark Auto Repair. Want to get better fuel mileage and, make your tires last longer, check your tire pressure, So those type of things. So the videos that you produce you actually go. So tell me about the process, because you go to the shop. If this is on site, yep. You bring in the equipment. They've got the teleprompters there. It's really easy for the shop owner because they don't have to make up the scripts or anything. You do all of that, right?
Yeah. So it's all interview style. So we do it documentary style. So okay. We'll go out and again spend the entire day there, interview the shop owner or owners, their whole team, a bunch of customers, and then record the happenings, what's going in and around the shop, fly the drone around the shop, fly the drone through the shop, and get really a lot of background that shows really what it looks like. It's not, I've seen some of these videos and they're good of the guy sitting in the shop, it's all darkly lit behind him and he's sitting on a stool and there's nothing going on and, telling a story. And those are good stories. But the thing is that people really want the authenticity. They want to see a real working shop. They want to see what's going on in there. Mm-hmm. And what's important, it's not so much even that they want to see that, but the videos that we produce, while the people are talking, they're seeing, they see a Jeep on a lift. They see a Mercedes on a lift. It's like, oh, I have a Mercedes. I should bring my shop there. I thought they only worked on Toyotas. So they see all that stuff. They see the faces. They create a relationship. The way these videos are created allows the viewer to establish an emotional relationship already with the shop. because storytelling does this in a way that you can't do it in any other way. It allows you to kind of, there's a lot that goes on in your brain when stories are starting to be told, and it's what kind of attracts you, and it kind of latches you on to that story, and it makes you kind of lean in and listen to what's going on, and so they're more likely to then create that emotional relationship with the shop owner, and then they're sold on what they do and why they're better before they walk in the door. Mm-hmm. So what's really important about that, here's the really key thing about it, is now that they know who you are, they know that you do loaner cars, you've got a beautiful shop, you've got a great waiting room, you employ only the highest quality technicians that have been trained, you've got professionals at the front desk, you go to all the steps to make sure you've got the best technology. So now when they come in the door, those aren't the people that go like, oh my God, down at O'Reilly's, I can get this part for $20. They already know they're going to pay a little more, but they know it's going to be worth it too. They know they're going to get all those things. They're going to get their car washed when they bring it back. They got to smile. They're all the smiling faces and those, the wonderful stories they heard from their other customers. So it must be a great place to go. So that's what that whole storytelling process does. But I will say that what we do while we're there too, is we help them out with those social media videos, because, hey, got a camera crew there, might as well shoot them too. So we can get all those little slices of those hours of video that we record. We can also we can slice up that content into all those smaller pieces that you're talking about that are fabulous for social media. And that's part of the process and part of the package as well.
So let me get into what I believe is really important and why we want to stay away from templated websites. Mm-hmm. Every shop is different. So we ask 36 differentiating questions. Do you have early morning drop-off? Do you have late afternoon pickup? Do you have a waiting area? Do you have Wi-Fi? Do you have heated toilet seats? Whatever, So we ask all these different questions. So in the beginning, when the website loads, because like you said, people like to scroll. So that's why we have a very, very particular way that converts websites fast. It's all through the header. Everything that's in that header image, the kind of image, where the reviews are at, and all that stuff. So what do you think helps a shop showcase best? What makes them stand apart, from the rest? So you do the same thing I do. You do it in video. I do it in digital and format. We get all these reasons because a lot of digital marketing agencies get this wrong, especially on their service pages. They'll talk about the importance of an oil change on the service page. That's ridiculous. The customer's already passed that buying point. They just why should I bring my car into your shop to get my oil change? You're using OEM oil. I can get me in. You can get me in quick. You've got this customer waiting area with Wi-Fi, and you got a kids waiting area, play area. That's what they want to know about. So, so tell me about how you do the same thing we do with digital with video.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we do it. Like I said, interview style. So like you have that questionnaire,
right? Which I can't access. I'll try to access.
It's okay. But it's literally the same process. So we'll go out and, as you can imagine, people who don't stand in front of a camera for their living, are uncomfortable trying to talk to a camera.
Sure.
We completely take that out of the mix by, having them talk to me or to one of our other interviewers. So I'll sit there and I'll ask those questions. Hey, tell me, how long you been in this business? How long you been doing this? What is it about you that makes you different? Tell me about your, what happens if I show up after hours and I can't be here before you're closed? Well, it's funny you should bring that up. We've got a fabulous drop box out front. If you show up after hours, you open up the door, you fill out the envelope, you put your keys in there, you drop in the box. We'll give you a call first thing in the morning. And hey, if you need to pick up your car after hours, same thing. You just come along, we put your keys in a little lock box out there. We'll send you a code. We'll send you a text message where you pay online. So those are the kind of stories that they tell that we then will carve that up into smaller pieces. So that now they, that goes into their story, but it also feeds those other social media videos too. Same thing with your loaner car program. I always ask, what happens, it's all about convenience for consumers these days. When your car breaks down, you're not so bummed that your car broke. What you're upset about is that you can't get to work, you can't get to school, you can't pick up your kids. So for a shop owner that focuses on convenience and knows their customers, those are the stories you need to tell. And so I asked him right up front, what do you do for to make it more convenient and make it more helpful for your clients? What if they can't stick around? I know you have a beautiful waiting room here. They talk about the waiting room. But what if they can't stick around? It's like, well, we actually have a loaner car program. And I'll tell you that every shop that I go to who does have a loaner car program, most of their customers don't know. And they're like, oh my God, really? It's like, oh yeah, it gets them past that my car is broke issue. It's come on in, we're going to take care of you, sit here in our great waiting room. If you need to hang out while we're working, there's a place, there's a great place to get some coffee. You can see that we've got free Wi-Fi, you can work. We've got a little, cubby hole over there where you can be in private. I went to a shop in North Carolina that has a game room. They got a pinball machine, they got a Pac-Man machine and a coffee room in there. They got a kids playroom, they got some workstations. So every shop is different. And then showcasing that stuff through video by seeing it. Because people learn different ways too. They hear it or they see it, or they experience it through the emotions. Those are the three ways. And so video accomplishes all those things.
So basically, like the why choose section, under this is our website build document. So why choose shop? We have early bird drop off. Is you take what's here in a little button, but now you put it on steroids. It's an actual interview. So if you working with one of our clients, I would just send you the list. Here's what they do.
Exactly.
You would know exactly what to ask. Well, I see you have a kids play area. Where's that at? I see you have this.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Awesome. And I think we already covered, a lot of people think that direct mail is dead, and it is not.
No,
not at all.
It's really experiencing a resurgence right now, in fact. So I'll give you a great example. Even the saturation postcards we're talking about, these things get like a 1.5% return. So it's like, you give me $1, I'm going to give you $1.50 back. So
it's part of the resurgence. I wanted to cover that real quick.
Yeah.
When the best time to market is when everybody isn't. So the number one time that auto repair shop owners or businesses in general will cut their marketing is when a recession or whatever comes through, with things are dipping.
Yep.
That's been proven again and again and again, the worst time. This time, and that's what everybody else does. So now with that same dollar amount, you can get in front of a whole lot more people. So there's less and less shops do direct mail marketing, the better it is for the shops to do, because it's still very effective.
Yeah. And there's two parts of it too. So there are a lot of shops that are getting on the direct mail bandwagon. But if I get two postcards in the mail, let's say they're both in the same area, or one is like, yeah, we got oil change. Great. Or instead I get one that says, hey, Joe, you need help with your Subaru? Yeah, I do. My Subaru's out there. It's leaking oil over the driveway. I definitely need to get. So yeah, it's, and you're right. The best time to really do it is when you need it, and even beyond that. I've been at shops that go like, we've got all the cars we need, and they'll throttle back. And then find out that the reason they had all the cars they need is because they had their pedal to the metal. A great example is a shop that I was working with stopped their postcards for 2 months. It's the perfect poster child in reverse, showing why postcards work great, because their car just crashed. They didn't realize that their car count was pretty stable because people kept coming and coming. Right. And it was that same message every single time. It's the smiling faces of the shop owner on the front.
Right.
And, why choose us? We got complimentary loader vehicles. We got pickup and drop off, 24/7 personal answering service, 3-year, 36,000 warranty right on their postcard. And then, right over here on the other side, $79 synthetic oil change. Well, I may not need that every month, but when I see this thing over and over and over again, and on the backside, I've got other things that talk about like, oh, we now work on European vehicles. They used to be an Asian shop. I didn't know that. And now I can bring my wife's Honda and my Volvo in. So it's the same type of things you talk about that are personalized on your homepage. Putting those on your postcard really works too. And it's a proven methodology. And it's one of these I will point out though, this is something really important for people to understand. Direct mail does not work like digital.
No.
Direct mail is a long tail. It's like SEO. So when I send out a postcard, when I send out 10,000 postcards the first time, you may get a bunch, but you won't get, you won't get people beating down your door to come in. It's repetition. It's seeing that over and over and over again. And that's what it's all about. There's, I think you've got to see something 7 times before you really believe it or something like that. But we found that it takes at least 90 days of postcard delivery before you really see that kind of traffic just repeated over and over and over again.
Well, a decade ago, you could be seen on social media 7 to 9 times and be recognized.
Well,
It's 21.
that one, yeah.
So now it's 21. So what you're talking about is the reason that we send out a newsletter to all of our clients' current customers. It's, I don't care if the customer is at all interested in the topic. They're reading through their email or text messaging and they saw the name of the shop. Same thing here. It's top of mind marketing. So I'm not interested in your synthetic oil change, okay? But all of a sudden, I'm driving down the road one day and I start feeling a squeal and a thumping in my brakes. What's going on? I want the first shop to be our customer.
Who's the last guy I heard? And we'll do it in combination too. We'll do direct mail and social media posts. And when we work with you guys do the social media posts, but we work with clients that don't. And so we'll do a combination campaign where we'll send out their postcards and we'll just blast their social media channels with this. It's just it's top of mind marketing.
Yeah.
They're probably not going to react to it, but they see it every day. And then they go like, oh yeah, I've seen these guys on social media a few times. I should give them a call.
Yeah. Well, ours is different. Like what we do is not, I tell them in my presentation, we do not do social media marketing. So we do all their holiday videos. You don't do a holiday post anymore. They don't work. So we do little videos with music for every single holiday. And then we take positive mental attitude quotes. I know it's antiquated, it still works. So the 150, the most popular quotes, we put those and brand them to our clients and stick them up there. And then we also do the 150 tips videos. We put one of those, per week on all their social media channels. And then reviews, leaving a review just on Google or Carfax is a waste. You want to celebrate that and put it on all social media channels. So what you do is different. Yours is more, so it complements what we do.
Exactly.
We're doing posting, but you're doing actual marketing. So there's a difference between the two there. So you've been in the industry for a while. What do you think the biggest changes are that are coming that are going to affect the independent auto repair shop owner the most?
What's coming? Wow. Well, local service ads a big thing. That's a big thing that you guys do.
Right. Yeah.
That's pretty big for auto repair. But I think it's, and maybe I'm biased, but I do think it's a lot of now getting beyond the noise. And, there's a lot of shops out there now, and there's a lot of consolidation too. So, you see a lot of franchises pop up. And so now it's difficult for an independent who has been in the business for a long time, or maybe haven't been in the business for a long time, but somebody who has a unique business. I think it's difficult for them to get that message out there. And I think it's important for them to do it in a way that shows why they're different and not necessarily that they're just as good or better than the next guy, that they're just different. And, it's not the blue jumpsuit guy with a wrench. And, it's not Euro cars driving down the Autobahn when you're in Ohio, right? So,
yeah, let me give you some stats on that noise, because this is the kind of information I like getting out there. So 3.5 billion reels go up on Facebook Reels. 4.6 billion pieces of information go on to Google every 24 hours. 300 million photographs get uploaded to Facebook daily. So as a shop owner, you really got to go the extra mile to get noticed in the marketplace, keep the brand in front of the consumer. lot has changed since the old Yellow Page days, and there's a lot of shop owners wish we were back there.
Yep.
It's just one thing, and it's become a lot more confusing and a lot more. But but the shops that do stay in front of the consumer the most are the ones. And then LSA, you mentioned LSA. If there's a shop owner listening to this, you do not know what LSA is, call me. Okay, because that's local service ads, and Google rolled it out nationally to all auto repair in the month of March, just a couple months ago. So they did a California and Florida since the summer of 2023 as a test market before they would roll this out nationally. So and basically local service ads are, just to make it easy for the shop owners, it's pay per lead, or PPC is pay per click. So still the same game with a different name on it, because how many leads do I need to get a book job? How many clicks do I need to get a book job? LSA is bringing in leads at a much lower amount. And then if all the calls are recorded through Google. So if somebody calls and says, hey, can I pick up my car at 5 instead of 4? And Google charges you for that, we can refute it. You can get your money back and buy another lead. Then we can take all the phone numbers that you get every single day, because they're all cataloged, match that to your shop management software program, see how many of these phone numbers are brand new entries into your shop management software program, and exactly how much per ticket, so we can get to the actual penny. I invested $4,000 in LSA ads this month. I got 36,000 back, or whatever the number is. And we can get it down to the dollar.
Yep.
So it's really, really important. And then last but not least, I want to go ahead and bring up is AI. So we actually altered our company's vision. It's to dominate auto repair marketing through AI innovation. So that's a pretty big vision for us to. We just recently changed it because of AI. AI is going to be the largest disruptor in human history, because the last two, which were agricultural and farming, agricultural and industrial, were all machines, and then those workers were absorbed into other areas. Well, the last area that we thought was that we had, which was reasoning, that's gone. So 30% of jobs between robotics and AI are going to be displaced in the next decade. It's going to be massively disruptive.
Yep.
Because
What I said, that's one thing that makes, authentic videos even more important.
Yep.
If I've got a real video of my actual shop owner,
not a robot,
my actual customer, it's not a synthesis like, hey, my name is Jane.
Right.
I really like this place. You should come here too.
Right. So, and more and more people that are going to, hey, we'll have robots in our house to do cleaning and things like that. It's going to be, it's really, really going to change things. Now with auto repair, especially in our lifetime, don't have to worry about a robot doing a brake job or doing alignment. But what it will benefit positively to the auto repair industry is with diagnostics.
Yeah.
Because big data is going to have every possible scenario on planet Earth that's ever been done in a computer system. So when someone brings in a car, you'll be able to accurately diagnose the car so much faster than you'll be able to diagnose a car so much faster using that. So and so if you had any advice to give a shop owner today, what would it be?
Well, so since I've never run a shop, and I've never my background is software and marketing. I think my advice to shop owners today is to be authentic, and I think that's really where it's at.
That's a really
is really is showcase what you're all about.
Right.
Don't try and be the other guy. Don't try and chase down. Why are you better than Christian Brothers or whatever? Showcase what you're better at. What you do.
Right.
That makes you unique, and that's, I think, what customers are looking for. And it's funny too, because a lot of people ask me, like, how do you know that stuff? Well, it's just, there's the rocket science to it. Don't tell anybody. Maybe we should keep this under covers. I asked, right? So I've been in these thousands of shops I've been to. I ask people a lot of stuff, and in these interviews that I do, I ask shop owners, I ask consumers, and I ask the technicians, what it is that they're looking for out of a shop. even the people who are working there, I ask them, what are you looking for when you come there? People looking for a new shop to work at. You've heard about the rap sheet resume where a guy's been at 100 shops in the last 2 months or something,
Right.
Or whatever. It may not be that they're not good; they just haven't found a place they'll fit in, and that's what it's all about.
Possible. Yeah.
And so that's what it is. It's being authentic, and because that's what will attract your perfect audience, whether it's your perfect team member or it's your perfect client.
Yeah. Well, Patrick, we're totally aligned there because we're starting to refuse clients as customers that do not provide us with imagery.
Yeah.
I want a new website. I want a new digital presence. We're going to do all this work for you on a monthly basis. But I don't want to go out and take a picture. Yeah. Okay. So now you're forcing us to go and use stock imagery. And then when you do get around to taking a picture, now we got to redo all the images again on the website, which is costing me more and more money. So I'm just getting to the point where, look, if you're not willing to hire, have somebody come in and take pictures of video, you're really not serious about your marketing. We really don't want you. There's plenty of other companies that'll be happy to take you on, but we know what works best for marketing, and Google is demanding authenticity. They despise, stock images. So I want to have, like, on our brands pages. So we create 27 brands pages. So Acura Auto Repair in their city. We got a specific page written for just that. So we can't use the logo, but we can use a picture. So we take the stock image, but it has to go through a whole bunch of changes, and then we have to save it so it's not seen as a stock image anymore.
Cool.
We go
Even better if you actually have a picture or a video of the front of their shop with one of those cars.
That's even better.
So by the way, with that, that problem where you can't use the logo, because we have the same problem with postcards. Sometimes we got to remove the logo off their cars. But if you take a picture of a real vehicle in front of your shop, you're not held to that.
Yeah, that's what we're doing. Like Porsche, we would use a stock photo of the picture of a dealership. It's got Porsche on the front of it. Now we just alter it, change it, until we can get it to the point where Google's not going to see it as a stock image anymore. And then we would post that on the website, and Porsche can't say anything because we're not using their actual physical logo. Yeah. So any other questions I should ask that I haven't?
I don't think so.
Maybe we can.
There's sure a lot.
Maybe we can have another podcast with you because the topic. What are the questions that you've been asked the most? I want to capitalize on this massive amount of knowledge that you have, like you said. So if you gave me like 15 or 20 questions that were asked the most, we could probably do a separate podcast that shop owners would love.
Well, another thing, one thing you brought up YouTube videos. And yes, absolutely, you should be putting a ton of videos into YouTube. What you should never do is put a YouTube video on your webpage. You know why? You probably know why.
Oh, yeah. Load speed. Yeah, just keep there. Right?
If there's a YouTube video on your webpage, what's the purpose of having a video on your page in the first place? It's to get on the stick.
Right.
But first thing, when I see a YouTube video, I'm going to click the button that says "Watch on YouTube," and I'm gone. Right. I'm not coming back. I mean, you're going to be watching SpaceX and cats for the next 3 hours. Maybe I'm going to learn about drones. And I came there to make an appointment, and that's completely opposite. And plus, your competitors can serve up ads, and they can serve up ads on your website. So if you put a YouTube video on your page and your competitors find out about it, they can, Joe's Auto can serve up a pre-roll ad on your video that's, when they think they're going to watch your video about your story, but now a word from Joe's Auto instead.
Awesome.
So there's a lot of reasons, and those are the biggest reasons to not have a YouTube video on your website. And so there's a lot of great ways to embed them, and it's not with YouTube.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, thanks. Good advice. Patrick, thank you very much for your time today. Great interview. Maybe we could do another one in the future where you just bring up all those, like the top 20 questions you've heard the most.
Sure.
Auto repair shop owners. I think that would be a great one. And then we could do 20 little short clips, one of each question and the answer. So I think that'd be really cool. So thanks for tuning in to Top Shop, another Top Shop podcast.
For additional automotive resources and exclusive content, follow us on Spotify and subscribe to our YouTube channel to catch all our episodes. Thanks again for joining us in the driver's seat, and we'll see you next time for another thrilling episode of Top Shop.